Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra. On how to begin trading in stock markets. If that's the question that you've been asking yourself, then this video is for you. As I'm going to be joined by somebody who's the best in helping you do that. Vivek Bajaj, co-founder of StockEdge and E-learnmarkets, joins in to discuss the basics of stock market trading for beginners on this show. Welcome, Vivek. Great to have you as always. And I know that this topic is very, very close to your heart as you've been a professional trader for over 15 years now, Vivek. And who better than you to discuss this?
Thank you. Thank you for having me as always.
So, Vivek, first up, help all our viewers really understand the first question that they ask themselves: is stock market trading a good idea for absolute beginners if they have not at all invested in the stock markets ever?
Well, I always say this to people that investment is also a form of a trading. It's
Yes.
just that the duration of the trade is much longer than typically when we think about trading, or in society generally trading is all about intraday trading and short-term speculation. But trading can have a much wider
Mm.
application, right from a 1 minute trading, like every minute you are trading, to a 10-year horizon trading. So one has to really understand the objective, why we are in the market. If you are here for investing, that's a long-term trading. You have a different parameters to follow if you want to do that. If you're here for intraday trading, which is, by the way, also a science, it is not a random thing to do. There is
Yeah.
science, and one need to understand that science.
You're right. Vivek, I'm sure that you have interacted with so many people in your webinars, on your YouTube channels. You speak to everybody who's interested in stock markets. The first instinct that I have come across people is that I want to invest or trade in stock markets because I want to make money.
Yeah.
That stock markets are seen as, by way of making easy money. So, do you see that as the first starting point, and should it be that starting point to invest or trade in markets?
Well, you're absolutely correct. The first
Mhm.
instinct is that we come to stock market because we want to make money. And the most unreasonable out of that instinct is that we come here because we find it to be easy,
Yes.
because the environment around us makes us believe that it is easy. So that's why we are tempted to get inside the market.
Mm.
So there's nothing wrong with that objective, because you come to market. Market is an epitome of capitalistic society. So you come to market to make money, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
come to market to just
Mhm.
spend time in the market. Now, what is the color of that money? That has to be very properly understood. So, is it an easy money opportunity? The answer is no, because there's nothing called easy money except that you stand outside the church and there is much easy thing to do. But if you are there in the market, for sure, it's not easy, because imagine millions and millions of people are there in the market with only one
Yeah.
objective: to make money. So you are not competing with computers. Obviously, you are competing with computers these days, but you're competing with millions and millions of people who are just here to make money.
That's right. So, help us understand who should be really trading in stock markets. Those who want to enter stock markets, make it a full time career, or those who want to, just increase their side income. Should students or housewives who have extra time, should they explore this to make money?
Yeah. So let me divide this discussion into different category of market participants.
Yeah.
First is ultra short-term trading. So people who are there in the market all the time.
Hmm.
Their subconscious mind and conscious mind both are there in front of the market, because that is their full-time job, right? And people who are there for full-time job, obviously they'll do that only because that's their job is. The
Hmm.
second is a short-term trading, which ranges from probably 2 days to 25 days, 30-day position, uh, which is basically for people who can be full-time
Okay.
or can be part-time as well. Depending upon how much time you want to give, you can strategize your participation.
Hmm.
Then you have mid-term trading, which can range from, say, 2 months, 3 months to 6 months, which is again more driven by business fundamentals, quarterly results of the company, and also price action. So
Hmm.
there you hold position for a longer time frame, because
Hmm.
your objective is to make bigger return than probably what a short-term trader would make. And finally, the long-term trading or the investing,
Yeah.
where business becomes more important than the regular price action of the script.
Okay, understood that. So, what exactly is the right way to begin trading in stock markets? If I want to begin today, after deciding which category do I fall into, the ones that you discussed,
Yeah.
uh, what is the right way to start? How do I start?
Sure. So if you are interested in full-time day trading,
Mm.
then so the best way is that you should join an organization which is into that, because
Okay.
just as someone who has opened an account with a broker and starting day trading, the propensity to earn money is lesser than someone who has joined a professional trading arcade or a professional proprietary trading desk. So
Okay.
ideally, you should be qualified. You should have basic qualifications like NISM, etc. You should be knowledgeable enough on subjects like technical analysis and price actions. And then you try to join an organization which is full time into that job. Okay.
Mm.
But suppose you are someone who is already having a job or
Yeah.
having a business but want to do a part-time trading, then that shorter tenure or two mid-term tenure, that trading is okay with you, ranging from 2 days to 60 days or 90 days. Now, how do you start that? Again, there are two theories in that. One, people who can give approximately 10 hours a week, they should typically do weekend trading.
Yeah.
And the concept of weekend trading, which I defined, is that you spend around 3 to 4 hours, 5 hours on weekends,
Yeah.
put up your alerts on the stock prices, and whenever on weekday when the alerts are activated, then only you participate. Otherwise, you keep it passive participation. That's called weekend trading.
Okay.
And people who can give say 15 hours, 20 hours a day, they should become more active traders. So you don't have to be in front of the screen all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
what you can do is every day evening, spend 1.5, 2 hours knowing what has happened in the market throughout the day, what can potentially happen in the market tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and become more hands-on with your positions in the market.
Correct.
So the
So,
first
yeah.
category,
Mm.
sorry.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So typically, this category of people also uses derivatives,
Mm.
specifically options, because options has a well calculated risk reward. So it's easier for you to generate better return on capital if you're using options trading for shorter tenure trading.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that exactly is my question. This now there is cash trading, there's futures, there's options. So where exactly a beginner or a new novice trader start?
So if you have decided that you want to do trading, then you get into derivatives. If you are still digging, not very sure whether this is in for me, then I think cash market, because you need time and patience to understand this market ecosystem. It's a forest, and there are
Yeah.
so many animals in this jungle. So it takes typically 2 years. With my experience, I've seen, because we have many traders in house, it takes approximately 2 years to gain that confidence that yes, I know this is the space in this jungle. So ideally, you should start with cash market if you're
Mm.
not sure that this is something you want to do. Once you
Okay.
have that confidence inside you that this is it, I've realized my calling, then start learning derivatives and get into derivatives, because derivative has this inherent natural advantage of giving you leverage. And
Mm.
with people with smaller capital base, they can only create a lot of capital if they can get leverage from that capital.
Right. Also wanted to ask you, so a lot of people, what they do is when they have no knowledge about trading, they listen to stock picks
Yeah.
or stock tips from experts on TV, in newspapers, on WhatsApp. Of course, WhatsApp is dangerous. We always say you don't know where it is coming from. But if you're like listening to, say, qualified experts on TV, in newspapers, some of those people, they pick up those stock tips and they start trading in those. Is that a good way to begin?
Very honestly, this is
Mm.
something which you can't avoid.
Mm.
It's easy said than done that you should keep your ear closed and no one should influence you and all other things. But the fact is that we are living in a strongly communication convergence world. So you
Mm.
will hear all these things. My
Mm.
point is कि हम सुनेंगे सबके करेंगे अपनी. We will
Yeah.
listen to everyone, but we should have a framework of our own. कि ठीक है आपने बोला अच्छी बात है. Is it
Mm.
satisfying my framework? If it does, then it's an amazing thing to do, because
Mm.
someone is also suggesting, your brain is also saying yes, this makes sense. Then there is a higher probability of you making money. The problem comes when they said you did and then don't have onus to ask you to exit because that's
Oh,
not their
yes.
moral obligation, right?
Yes. Yeah, and you didn't know when to exit, and you actually end up making losses, and you don't know how to exit that, sticky position that you get yourself in.
Yeah.
So, fair point right there. So, along with those stock tips, along with listening to experts who have much more experience than you, to support that with your own education, which you started off by talking about, how and where should one get educated? Is there a market crash course that one should do before beginning trading? What would you really recommend?
Well, we are very fortunate that we are living in a world where knowledge is available in abundance. Now
Yes.
there is a problem of plenty we have, so we have to get into that zone of elimination that where I
Sure.
should not go, rather than selecting where you should go. But having said that, YouTube is tremendous. It has opened up huge opportunities for people to learn from right people.
Mm.
I don't want to talk about my offerings because it will look like that I'm talking about myself, but I can proudly say that there are
Yeah.
two things one should look at. One, in my personal YouTube channel, I've created a series called Learn to Trade, which is
Yes.
50 video series free of cost, A, B, C, D to Z of trading. So one
Okay.
should go through that 50 videos. We'll understand a good knowledge on the trading side of the markets. And the other thing is on E-learn Markets YouTube channel, we created face-to-face videos, which is very similar to what we are doing right now. I interview a lot of
Yes.
experts of market. I've interviewed 160 people. So you
Yes.
also learn from experience of other people. So
Absolutely.
apart from us, there are many people who are doing some great work in public platforms. And if you want to join courses, there are paid courses as well. But I think YouTube can be the good starting point of
Mm.
building up your knowledge to advanced courses.
Okay. So help us understand then what are the do's and don'ts of trading for all those people who've now identified the category they are in, who've now chosen, say, an organization that you talked about, who are
Yeah.
becoming a part of that, who listening to these videos on YouTube and then getting used to of this, listening to the stock tips. What are the do's and don'ts of trading?
Well, the most important rule of trading is that you should know exactly how much you are willing to lose. Because in stock market, I've experienced that if you know how much you can lose, there is a higher chance that you will make much more than that. It cannot be a very open-ended thing that dikhte hain, and you bought 50,000 rupees, then you realize that, oh, I'm not going to leave it. It's a revenge that I'm going to take from the market. Then you
Yeah.
again bring another 50,000, another 50,000. So there is no end to this greed. So one should exactly know that this is my risk appetite. This is the capital I want to try with. It's my risk capital. And if it goes out, then I'm going to take a break for a few months or years and come back again with a new set of risk capital.
Mm.
Second thing is that never ever take borrowings and participate in market. I get so many emails,
Yes.
distress emails, people using their credit card EMIs to lose money in market, and that debt is becoming a kind of a debt trap for them. So
Yes.
that is the most scary part of market, that you always tend to get into revenge trade by putting more capital, eventually leveraging your lifestyle totally.
Mm. Okay.
And the do's of market is that first of all, believe that you can do it. I think that is the first thing, because market 80% is mindset, only
Yeah.
20% is technique. So once you develop that belief that yes, I can do it, then you will make sure that you'll put all those efforts
Mm.
which will lead to that success of becoming anything. Could be a trader, investor. So if once you have done that, then obviously the right learning is important, because ultimately when you want to become a doctor, you go through education. When you want to become a lawyer, you go through education. If you want to become a trader, you have to go through the education. Otherwise, it's very open-ended occupation then.
Absolutely understood. So those are the do's and don'ts. But very interestingly, you pointed out the first point as that you should define how much money you're willing to lose. So many people would have this question: how much money should they actually start off with? So how do they decide that portion?
See, it's very individualistic.
Mhm.
There are some people who are already financially independent because of their past jobs and
Yeah.
businesses. So they obviously want to deploy significant capital, which will justify their time. So if suppose I am deploying only 50,000 rupees in market, Vivek Bajaj cannot do that because I have a cost of my time. So if I have to start in the market when I started in 2006,
Mm.
after my job in JM, I started with 10 lakh because I knew that if I don't start with a significant capital, my opportunity cost of not doing much throughout the day is far higher than
Hmm.
what I'm. So people have to understand that you can start with 50,000. And if you generate, say, 20% or 50% return, you end up only 25,000 rupees, which is nothing.
Which
It's
won't
not going
make
to
too
hit.
much difference to your current, whatever your objective or aim is by
Correct.
investing in or trading in stock markets.
Right, right.
Understood that. So, help us also understand. You talked about duration, that one should first determine how long are you willing to trade or invest. So, what is the best way for a beginner to do? Is intraday better for them? Is positional trade better for them? Or absolute long term is what they should start with?
So that purely depends upon how much time you can give. It's a very simple function. If you can give time intraday, I know a lot of people who give time only in buckets. So
Yeah.
I'm says they say doctor whose chamber is starting from 12 noon, he has time to trade the market from 9:30 to 11:30. So he
Mm.
has defined that time that for 2 hours I'll trade, I'll take position, and at 11:30 I'll square up my position irrespective of what has happened with me. So
Mm.
intraday trading is not just about 9:15 to 3:30 all the time. You can define the buckets and you can participate according to that, right?
Okay. Okay.
Similarly, swing trading also has its own merits and demerits, has its own path, and then long-term swing trading has its own path. So there is no right or wrong answer. It's just that you need to identify your space where you can fit yourself.
Okay, understood that. Well, there are many, many questions that can still follow, and this discussion can go on and on. But this is good for first part to address some of the basic questions that one can start off with, and we'll do multiple series with Vivek also and with other experts as well in stock markets. So you can stay tuned on to Business Today TV to listen to such experts who can guide you to begin your day in and your ambition in stock market. So thank you so much, Vivek, for addressing all these questions that most of our viewers have been constantly asking on social media. And I'm sure this will really help them to at least get started on with the right direction that they want to take. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure always.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe.